You've been lied to today. You probably don't know when. You probably don't know who. But here's the question that keeps scientists up at night. Not who told the first lie to you, the first lie ever, to anyone, in the entire history of the human species. Because before money existed, before governments, before written language, before any of that, someone opened their mouth, looked another person in the eyes, and said something they knew was not true. And everything changed. Scientists have studied lying for decades, psychologists, anthropologists, neuroscientists, and what they found is genuinely disturbing. Not because lying is rare, because it isn't. We live inside a web of lies so constant, so normal, that most of us can't even see it anymore. But follow this story to the beginning, and you'll never think about a simple conversation the same way again. Here's the part nobody expects. The story of the first lie doesn't start with humans at all. Researchers were studying a group of chimpanzees in the wild. Normal day, normal behavior. Then one chimp, call him the clever one, found something. Food, good food, enough for just himself. The problem? The rest of the group was close by. Bigger chimps, stronger chimps, chimps who would absolutely take it. So he stopped. He looked left, he looked right, he checked if anyone was watching. Then he hid the food under a log, stood up, and walked away like nothing happened. Now, I want you to think about what just happened there. That chimp didn't act on instinct. Instinct would have been to grab the food and run. This was something else. This was planning. This was understanding that the other chimps had eyes, that those eyes could see him, and that if those eyes didn't see him, they couldn't take what was his. Ravens fake bury food when they know rivals are watching to protect the real hiding spot. Cuttlefish change gender signals mid-display to manipulate who they mate with. There's even a species of orchid that mimics a female bee to trick male bees into mating with it. All for pollination. The animal kingdom is not innocent. But here's what separates all of that from the human lie. All of those animals are running programs, evolved behaviors that look like deception from the outside, but they don't know they're lying. Humans do. And that difference, that's where the real story begins. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to show you a test, a simple test done with children. And what happens in that test will tell you, with almost disturbing precision, exactly when in human development the capacity to lie switches on. But first, we need to understand why it even exists, because the answer is going to reframe everything you think you know about being human. Picture this. Somewhere between 100,000 and 200,000 years ago, East Africa, open savanna, night. A small group, maybe 30, maybe 50 people, sits around a fire. They've been moving all day. Every person in this group knows every other person, knows their face, knows their voice, knows their history. There are no strangers here. And something important happens in a group that small. You can't get away with much. But this particular night, one of them is sitting with a secret. He found food earlier. Didn't tell anyone. He didn't say, I found food. He also didn't say, I didn't find food. He just said nothing. Was that a lie? Philosophers still argue about that, because the first active lie, an actual false statement said on purpose to create a false belief in someone else's mind, requires something profound. It requires a skill most creatures on Earth never develop. Theory of mind. The ability to understand that other people have minds that are separate from yours, that they have their own beliefs, their own knowledge, their own version of reality, and, crucially, that you can change what they believe, on purpose, without them knowing. Think about what that takes. To deceive you, I have to model your mind inside mine. I have to know what you know what you don't know, and then feed you something false, carefully, precisely, so it fits inside your existing model of the world. That is not simple. That is one of the most sophisticated cognitive operations a brain can run. And humans? We don't develop it until around age 4. Researchers designed a test to find the exact moment this ability turns on. Here's what they do. 2 dolls, Sally, Anne. Sally puts a marble in a basket. Sally leaves the room. Anne takes the marble, hides it in a box. Sally comes back. The researcher turns to the child and asks one question. Where will Sally look for her marble? If you answer that question, it's obvious. The basket. Because Sally left it in the basket. Sally doesn't know Anne moved it. A 3-year-old will say, the box. Not because they're wrong about facts, because at 3, a child only knows what they know. They can't yet imagine that Sally has a different version of reality, a version where the marble is still in the basket. A 4-year-old says, the basket. Because at 4, something rewires. Children suddenly understand. Sally has a mind. Sally has beliefs. And those beliefs can be wrong. And the moment a child understands that is the moment they become capable of lying. And they usually do, immediately. Scientists believe this same threshold, or this same moment of cognitive awakening, is when our ancestors first crossed into deception. Not lying by accident, not lying by instinct, lying on purpose, with full knowledge and a plan. But here's the part that nobody talks about. Lying didn't just appear because humans got smarter. It appeared because something happened, something massive that made lying not just possible, but necessary. And it has everything to do with how we built the world we live in today. Here is an uncomfortable truth. Lying and civilization didn't just coexist. They grew up together. For most of human history, your world was tiny. 50 people, maybe 100. You knew everyone. Everyone knew you. Your reputation traveled with you everywhere, every day. You couldn't fake who you were. There was no room. But then communities started growing. Towns became cities. Cities became anonymous. And suddenly, for the first time in human history, you could be whoever you said you were. You could say you were a skilled craftsman. No one could verify. You could say you came from an honorable family. No one could check. You could say you were wealthy, loyal, trustworthy, and no one in this city of strangers would know any different. Psychologist Robert Feldman put this to the test. He sat 2 strangers in a room, gave them one task, have a normal 10-minute conversation. Then he filmed it, played it back, and asked them to identify every moment they said something that wasn't accurate. In 10 minutes, the average person lied 3 times. And most of them had absolutely no idea they'd done it, not malicious lies. I totally get what you mean. They didn't. I love that idea. They didn't. I'm doing great. Debatable. Small lies, social lubricant, things we say to keep the gears of interaction running smooth. And here's the question that should bother you. Is that wrong? Or is it just human? Evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar argues that our social complexity required this, managing dozens of relationships, alliances, hierarchies, status. The brain that could run all of that social software was the exact same brain that could lie. You don't get one without the other. So what's the oldest documented lie we can actually point to? The one someone wrote down. We have to go back roughly 2,400 years. Ancient Greece, the eve of the Battle of Salamis, 480 BC. The Persian Empire, the largest military force the world had ever seen, is closing in. The Greek fleet is outnumbered, outgunned, running out of time. And an Athenian general named Themistocles makes a decision, not to fight harder, to lie. He sends a secret message to the Persian king Xerxes. The message says the Greek alliance is collapsing, that they're planning to scatter and flee, that if Xerxes moves his fleet into the narrow straits of Salamis right now, he'll destroy them before they can escape. Every word of it, false. Xerxes believed it, moved the fleet into the narrow straits where the Persian numbers became a disadvantage, not an asset. The Greeks destroyed them. One lie. Saved Greek democracy, saved Western civilization as we know it. But go even further back, to Mesopotamia, 4,000 years ago. And the Sumerians had already written myths full of gods deceiving each other, legal codes punishing false testimony, stories built on betrayal and manipulation. By the time humans invented writing, we had already been lying long enough to need laws against it. So when did the first lie happen? We'll never know the exact moment. We'll never know the person. We'll never know what they said, or who they said it to, or why. But we know this. It happened the moment a mind became complex enough to imagine another mind, to look at another person and see not just a face but a belief system, a reality that could be shaped. And every 4-year-old alive today crosses that same threshold, the same cognitive crossing our ancestors made, the moment theory of mind switches on. Here's what no one tells you. The brain that can lie to you is the exact same brain that can genuinely understand you. Empathy and deception run on the same hardware. To fool you, I have to know how you think. And to truly care about you, I have to know how you think. The first lie and the first act of real empathy happened in the same moment, in the same mind, with the same capability. We became capable of deceiving each other, the same day we became capable of truly understanding each other. What we do with that capacity. That part is still being written. Drop a comment. Do you think social lies are harmless? Or is every lie, no matter how small, eroding something? I'm genuinely curious what you think. And if this made your brain hurt in a good way, the next video is going to do the same thing.